Thank you for watching. I'll be tying an October Caddis Pupa from the family Limnephilidae. The hook is a core 1167 and a size 8. Create a thread base using 2 bobbins. I'm using Semperfli 30 denier Nano silk. The Limnephilidae is among one of the most important fall hatches, especially in western trout rivers. Bisect a section of 140 denier flat thread and secure it in place at the rear. Advance the first bobbin from the rear to the third waypoint behind the hook eye. Cut an angle point on one end of a strip of 3mm fulling mill nymph wrap and translucent natural. Secure it along the shank to the rear of the hook, stretching it along the way. Secure a strand of cream Semperfli polyarn along the shank, ending up at the third waypoint behind the hook eye. Wrap the polyarn several turns at the rear to create a bulbous section, then spiral it forward to the third waypoint behind the hook eye. The pupa has a bulbous abdomen at the rear. Now spiral wrap the nymph wrap forward, being sure to brush out the polyarn between each wrap. These fibers will mimic the well-pronounced gill structure that is found on the abdomen of the Limnephilidae larva and pupa. The geographic range of the Limnephilidae is from the Midwest and Appalachians, but the caddis hatches are most famous in the western U.S. Look for leaf packs and slow riffles. This is prime Limnephilidae larval habitat. During the emergence, swing orange pupae or throw large dry patterns at dusk. Secure the nymph wrap in place, cut away the waste. To create the eyes, burn both ends of a section of 15-pound chameleon Maxima. Secure the eyes in place just behind the hook eye. A pair of fine-tipped tweezers help immensely in this process. Crisscross wrap. Whip finish and cut away the first bobbin. Mark the abdomen to your liking. I'm using a sepia color marker for the lateral sides of the abdomen. A little saliva helps to blend the coloration. Take the rear bobbin and secure the brown 140 denier thread along the sides, using the segments as your gauge. I point the hook at a downward angle so the thread doesn't slide rearward. Advance the bobbin to the third waypoint behind the hook eye, each wrap going into each segment. Cut away the excess thread that we used to create the lateral lines. Using a dark brown marker, mark the segments along the top of the abdomen. Take another section of nymph wrap and cut it to a point. Secure it in place just ahead of the 9th abdominal segment. This will be used to create the thorax. Create a dubbing noodle with a rusty orange squirrel or hare's ear dubbing. Create a small ball. Fold over and secure the nymph wrap to create the first thoracic segment. Now to create the rear legs, I take 2 barbs from a golden pheasant center tail and secure them in place. The habitat of the Limnephilidae is found in cobble or gravel substrates in freestone and spring-fed systems, where the larvae build their portable cases with sticks, leaves, sand, bark, and/or stone. Cut away the excess. Create another dubbing noodle and wrap it to just behind the eyes. Fold over the nymph wrap and secure it in place behind the eyes. This creates another thoracic segment. Secure in place 4 more golden pheasant tail barbs. Make them a bit shorter than the rear legs. Cut away the excess. Create another dubbing noodle using the rusty orange dubbing. Fill in the space behind and between the eyes. Fold over the nymph wrap. Secure it in place just behind the eye. Fold the nymph wrap rearward and secure it in place just behind the set of eyes. This process creates the well-defined sclerotized head. Hit the thread with a bead of superglue and whip finish. Cut away the excess nymph wrap. Mark the head and dorsum of the thorax with a dark brown marker. Coat the head, thorax, and abdomen with a Solaris ultra-thin UV flex resin. In the late summer, early fall, the larvae seal their cases and pupate. Limnephilidae pupation lasts 2 weeks to 2 months depending on the species and the water temp. When ready, the pupae chew out of their case and swim or crawl to the surface and emerge as winged adults. To create the wings, I'm using a caddis wing burner and realistic wing film, but you can use Swiss straw, medallion sheeting, or a similar material. A wing burner isn't necessary, you can just cut them to shape. Secure the prepared wings in place on either side of the hook at the rear of the eyes. Cut away the excess. To create the long, well-defined antennae, I'm using barbs from a widgeon flank feather. Use your thumbnail to create curvature to the antennae to help them flow back. Whip finish. Cut away the excess. And to help them flow back, I use Solaris Ultra Thin UV Flex Resin and adhere the antennae to the head. This also adds durability and sheen to the fly. Now take a hot needle and bend the legs to your liking. This creates a little more realism. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.